I got Denea in the building. You know, she's a Clippers fan. So, since this whole Donald Sterling news came out, Denea, my question is, are you still rooting for the Clippers and are you still a fan?
I don't know. I gotta ask Al Sharpton.
This is the BS Podcast Show. I'm your host, Brandon Fryer, a.k.a.
The Fry Guys!
Welcome to another edition of this BS Podcast Show. I'm your host, the Fry Guy, Brandon Fryer. I got Denea in the building, Mike's in the building. We got a lot of good things to talk about. You know we're going to dip into that Donald Sterling news. We got a lot of NFL talk, NBA talk, your ish, a bunch of stuff. But before we get into any of that, let's start off with this BS update. And let's start off in the NBA, of course, as the NBA has issued a lifetime ban on the Clippers owner Donald Sterling. They also issue a $2.5 million fine and will force him to try to sell the team. There's also a report that Magic Johnson and partners are willing to buy the Clippers. Also a report that Adam Silver, his top priority after the Donald Sterling news, is to raise the age limit. NBA legend Jack Ransby passed away this past week. The Lakers reportedly will retain head coach Mike D'Antoni. The NBA suspends Grizzly point guard Nick Calathes 20 games for a positive drug test. In the NCAA, Mizzou hires their new head coach, Kim Anderson. People have declared for the draft. Isaiah Alston, Jordan Adams, who decided to change his mind. He was first saying that he wanted to stay in school. Now he's saying he's declaring for the NBA draft. Also, Mitch McGary, who from Michigan, he declared because he found out he might be suspended for a positive drug test for marijuana. Some players are returning. The Harrison twins, for one, are returning to Kentucky. To me, they are the favorites now. And another person returning is Marcus Lee for Kentucky. In the NFL, wide receiver Josh Morgan signed with the Bears. Now he's charged with an assault in D.C. Anthony Spencer resigns with the Dallas Cowboys. Vince Young reportedly worked out for the Cleveland Browns. The Seahawks signed Earl Thomas to a contract extension, which will make him the highest paid safety in the NFL. Rolando McClain retires again after being reinstated by the Baltimore Ravens. In the MLB, the Mets traded first baseman Ike Davis to the Pittsburgh Pirates for a right-handed pitching prospect. MLB suspend Miguel Tejeda 10 games for having a illegal substance on his neck, which was apparently pine tar. And boxing legend Hurricane Carter passes away at the age of 76 years old. Let's get back to that Donald Sterling news in our first quarter. First quarter, you know we're going to get into this Donald Sterling news. So the NBA has made the decision. They said that they will ban Donald Sterling, give him a lifetime ban, issue a $2.5 million statement, and will try to force him to sell the team. To me, I feel like Donald Sterling's still winning because at the end of the day, he bought the team for $12 million. And in order for him to sell the team, they said the team is worth up to $500 million. So he's going to win regardless. He's winning still. But this is not the first time Donald Sterling's gotten trouble with his behavior and his attitude in the past. Before that, he got in trouble with a housing building, talking about he only wants to rent to Koreans. He don't want to rent to Mexicans or blacks because they smell or they're lazy and they just drink all day. And then another thing, he had a sexual assault case. Elgin Baylor, who worked underneath him, said he got paid only, I think, $200,000, which is good money, but compared to other GMs, it wasn't much because he wasn't paying him. He did one time tell Elgin Baylor that he wanted a Southern white head coach to coach his all-black team. So it'd just be like slave time. Just a bunch of stuff that always got into it. It's just crazy. It's funny just thinking about it. But the Clippers, they did a boycott. I'm getting Denea's opinion on this. The Clippers did a boycott. Everybody wanted to know what they was going to do. Were they going to boycott the game when they're not going to play. They decided to wear black socks, have their jerseys inside out. They threw the warm-ups in the center. I mean, I don't really... The question now, they was taking a little hit, the players, talking about did they do enough. I think you can't really fault them. There's no right or wrong answer for this. They did what they could do. I mean, it's really not their fault because when you're a player, you're not playing for the owner. You're paying for the fans and you're playing for your teammates. No one's thinking like, we're going to win this for the owner. That's just my thought as a basketball player, a mindset of that. Denea, what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I don't think changing around your jersey is a big stand for racism. And I think they should have just not played. Both teams should have not played. Like, if you look at the NBA, it's predominantly brown people, black people. Like, someone has to stand up or it's going to keep going. Like, they can't physically buy him out, but they can physically not play. And then what game is that? He's losing money there. Probably not any money that's going to dent his wallet, but, that says something.
No, I think it would have been... Personally, I did want them to boycott, but I don't fault them for doing what they did.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, they have to feed their families too. That's understandable, but they can't really punish everybody if everyone's doing the same thing. I
think it would have been bigger if they boycotted. They would have been known throughout history longer as a team that just said, we're not even going to play the game. That, to me, would have had a bigger statement, a bigger impact than probably just throwing it jerseys on the ground. And you could tell, to talk about the game, I'm getting to that in the next quarter, but you could tell the Clippers was drained. They got just beat down by the Warriors. And I feel like they were kind of my secret favorite. You heard me talk about them last week to sneak into the NBA Finals. I don't know now. I think they're mentally tired. I think the coach is mentally tired now, Doc Rivers. It sucks. It's already been reported that Doc Rivers said if Donald Sterling's retained, he's out of there. He's gone. And you see the sponsorships, they're either suspending their ties with the Clippers or they just ended them. Like, you had State Farm, you had Kia Motors. You see the commercials with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. It was a tire company, Virgin America. All of them are like either suspending or ending their partnership with the Clippers. So you see, you hurt the man by hurting his pockets. The game is going to be in LA today. So I actually think, Mark Jackson said this too, and I actually agree with him too, the fans should boycott. But I don't think that would have been as big because I feel like they already paid their money.
So they're going to show up.
They're going to show up. But I feel like the fans should boycott and the players should boycott too, so there's no game. And it's funny too, I don't think the NBA could even fine them if they decided not to play. I mean, that would have been just crazy, but obviously the ruling's been made. My thing now becomes the NBA's role. Do you think it was enough? I mean, you gave him a lifetime ban, so okay. You're going to eventually try to force him to sell the team. But I feel like Donald Sterling's been the longest tenured owner in the NBA. So this has been going on for years. So other owners knew who he was and everything. Mark Cuban, guy who's been on Shark Tank. He owns the Dallas Mavericks. Probably one of my favorite owners. He stated, it was a quote that he stated saying, I like Donald Sterling. He is who he is. And you got like that. He plays by his own rules. I feel like the NBA, now you got the new commissioner, Donald Sterling. Not Donald Sterling, I'm sorry about that. You got the new commissioner, Adam Silver. But David Stern, the old commissioner, they all knew who Donald Sterling was. They knew he was a racist. They knew all this. People was writing reports about Donald Sterling back in 2006, 2009 of his behavior. Old players, coaches knew the type of player he was. I told you about Elton Bayer, who worked underneath Donald Sterling, was a black guy. He knew. Everybody knew who he was, but nobody didn't beat the table loud enough. So I feel but eventually they felt like karma was going to get him. That's what they all thought. But I don't believe it. I feel like you should have stood there and really made it more known to the public how Donald Sterling is. Now it's a little too late. Now it gets to a point like this where now you kind of force Adam Silver's hand, who's brand new to this. He just took over the commission. He's brand new to this. And now you're saying, by the way, good job by Adam Silver, but now you're telling him to do this. What's your take on that?
At the end of the day, money talks, BS walks. So this man's pockets is full. You can't buy out somebody that owns something. It's if he wants to do it. If he's not going to do it, it's not going to happen. This is America.
And it's funny, I like that you said...
He's a paid Klansman. He's just a rich Klansman. That's all it is.
And then he got friends that's like this. A lot of people still think like that. And you know what's funny? You said money talks. Great point, because I like to transition to that about the NAACP. They honored this man. They gave this man awards because money talks. Exactly. Money talk because he was dishing out money to him. So money talk. This man is a known racist, and you honored this man.
That just goes to show that at the end of the day, if you're wealthy enough, you can be an open racist.
Yeah. I mean,
he can go and slap all the black people he sees and nothing will happen to him. He won't even get arrested.
Okay, I had this conversation with a guy at work. We talked about, he pretty much stated about it's only gonna get worse. He like before, because people are, kind of treating President Obama the way he's treating. You had the Paula Deen incident, Don Imus, all this stuff that happened. He said now you're getting the public shame and they hurt your pockets, but you're gonna be back on. Like that's pretty much it is. You just get that public humiliation. That's all you get. But then he says it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse where until it gets to a point where it's gonna be no public shame at all. People are gonna just say it. But I the one to believe that it might get worse, and it's gonna get so worse that one time would probably bloods get shed, like something serious happened where it goes back down, because it was never a good point for African Americans or any minorities in general, because I always feel like there was always racism in the world. I feel like it's just a hidden racism, and then now it's with all this stuff happening with Donald Sterling, you got that open racism, then it just a cycle. I feel like history just repeats itself. It's just a new form, new cycle. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I wouldn't even say it like repeats itself. It's just that now versus back then, the Caucasian race is being taught in school how to tolerate other minorities. They're not teaching them not to be racist. They're teaching them to be tolerable. So it's still the same exact racism as it was before. The only reason is it's like they're tolerating us. And at a point, they're going to realize there's going to be one moron that's going to guide the white people like, what's his name, like Hitler, and it's just going to take off and we all going to be slaves again unless we stand up and do something. So if that's not going to happen, it's just going to go right back. That's what it is. They're just tolerating us like we tolerating them,
What is your reaction to the Donald Sterling ruling? Do you think it was fair, or do you think more should have been done?
More should have been done. He just got like a scratch, like a pat on his wrist, like a little kid.
I wish he wouldn't even make money because he's gonna have to sell his team. He's gonna probably make way much more money.
He is. He's gonna be sitting.
So he's still winning.
Exactly.
And it was like you forced to sell the team, and now look at all this money I got. Thank you. Next quarter. Second quarter. Let's try to move away from the Donald Sterling and actually talk about some NBA playoffs, because there is playoffs that's going on. Let's talk about some real basketball. And I already talked to you about the Clippers and the Warriors. I feel like that Donald Sterling did affect the Clippers, and I feel like they're going to be mentally drained. Hopefully they can get it together. We'll see how this game goes later on tonight. But I feel like they're drained. Maybe the Warriors had a number. The Bulls and the Wizards. Now, I'm passionate about my Bulls. To me, I'm not going to say the series is fully over because the Bulls have a lot of fight in them. It might go again, but I feel like the Wizards got this series. But the reason that I've been stating that Carmelo needs to come to the Bulls, and I've been a big fan of this whole Carmelo. If Carmelo don't come to the Bulls, you need a swing man type of scorer who can create off the dribble, create their own offense. Maybe a Rudy Gay, somebody like that. Maybe you need to add a few more shooters. But I'm sorry, you need swing man type of scorers to beat or even to advance to get to the championship. Look at the Bulls the past 3 to 4 years. Derrick Rose, scoring nonstop. Point guard, scoring little guards or whatever like that, scoring nonstop. Then what you do, get LeBron James on them. Derrick Rose is non-existent. There's no other offense going. Now your offense is stale. Okay, Derrick Rose is hurt. We got Nate Robinson. Scoring all that. Put LeBron James on him. He's done. You don't even see him no more in the series. No one else can create. Next, DJ Augustine. You're seeing it right now. Trevor Reeves is on DJ Augustine. DJ Augustine is non-existent. You have nobody else. It had to take Mike Dunleavy to have the game of his life in the playoffs for them to finally win a game. You need a swing man type of scorer. That's what you need. Or a big man. You need something. You need more than just Derrick Rose or a small point guard. You need more. And that's his point with that. Spurs and the Mavs. The reason why I'm not a huge Spurs fan, or I don't feel like they can go far, they're a great team. But see, the Mavs, this is going to be an even series. This could go like 6-7 games. It's just something's up with the Spurs where it's something missing there where I don't have that sense of urgency. They kind of just, they got the good talent, but they can't just dominate and kill teams for them to be. I feel like they're a good regular season team. Playoff time, they could lose in the first round. They could. The Hawks and the Pacers. Roy Hibbert, whatever that team is going through, they got some serious chemistry because it is a really affecting the team. Maybe some reports will come out later. Frank Vogel is coaching for his job now, and it looked like he might be out as the Pacers coach if they lose this series. Roy Hibbert was just an all-star player and looked like he was on the rise. He was the reason why the Pacers could beat the Heat, and now this man got 0 points, 0 rebounds in the last game, just non-existent. I told you they needed to sit him down. He just don't look like he fits right in this series with the Hawks. The Heat look like they flipped the switch. They officially sweep the Bobcats. They advanced to the next round, waiting on the winner of the Toronto and Nets matchup. But one thing about the Heat, they flipped the switch. They ready. Dwayne Wade's playing like D Wade. LeBron James on a whole nother level. They look like they're ready and primed to go all the way to the championship. Maybe try to get that championship again this year. Raptors and the Nets. I feel like the Raptors can only win. They can go as far as DeMar DeRozan takes them. That's it. DeMar DeRozan has to have the game of his life every game for them to beat the Nets. Grizzlies and the Thunder. The Thunder, you're talking about this whole Westbrook and Durant, how they just not fitting together. I think it's bigger than that. They're going to get theirs. It's the role players who need to step up. You know, you got Jackson, you got Ibaka, you got Tabo, Perkins, Lamb. They have to step up, the role players. And the same goes for the Rockets in the Blazers series. Those role players have to step up in order for the Rockets to overcome that. So those are my takes, my quick takes from the playoffs. Let's get into halftime. All right, it's time to go out of balance here at halftime. And Colin Cowherd, ESPN radio host, he said something about paying athletes, like how ain't no point to pay athletes, or if you are going to pay athletes, all the athletes are going to do is spend their salary on weed and kicks. So I found that, I can't say it's BS because you already see it with Mitch McGary. You see that. You see people get suspended for weed. And then you got, they always rocking the hottest kicks. But I did think, what else would they buy? They wouldn't just buy those things. You have some pretty smart people and student athletes there who probably know they're not going to get to the pros. So why blow this money on stupid stuff? So, Mike, I'm going to ask you straight up, what do you think student athletes should use with their money? If you was a student athlete, what would you buy? One thing I would buy, it'd have to be... I'll probably give me a spot, a nice little place. Give me a car, some clothes. I mean, I'm trying to think if I was a student athlete. I would, kicks would be nice. Probably give me a nice car. I'd probably give I would actually, the smart thing to do is save some of that money and, invest it. Especially if I know I'm not going to be going to the big leagues or something like that, or the NBA or the NFL. If I know I'm not going there, I probably would spend my money or invest my money somewhere wisely so I could save it and it can make me more money down the line. Yeah, but I'm just saying that to a point of, you ask me what I'll buy and I'm telling you what I'll buy. You always get a little attitude with me. I sense still a little attitude. I'm going to Ryan Braun you. I'm going to just get a bat. I'm just going to knock you. Next quarter. Third quarter, we're going to talk about some NFL. The reason why the NFL schedules have been released for the 2014 season. You already kind of knew what teams were going to play each other, but you didn't know the dates. And me personally, I'm looking at the Bears. And they got some interesting matchups. They're going to be tested early. You got a good matchup with the 49ers. You got to play the Cowboys. I'm kind of excited. You got the Lions. I think the Bears play on Thanksgiving too. I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to it. So I can't wait. I'm hoping this is the year where they at least get in the playoffs, make some noise probably, and who knows what could happen there. But besides that, I want to give my other winners and losers off the NFL schedule. My winner is going to go to the Denver Broncos. And the reason why, their schedule for them looks decent. But the way they're ending their season is good. They're going to be playing teams like the Raiders, the Rams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins. A nice way to end your season, and that's supposed to happen after week 9. A nice way to end your season and get into that quest for the playoffs and try to get back to the Super Bowl and get that championship. Loser is going to go to the Oakland Raiders. Maurice Jones-Drew, Lamar Willie, they pretty much saying, the Oakland Raiders are going to be a playoff team. We are a playoff team. It's going to be pretty tough for you to get to the playoffs, especially out of that division, because you're in there with the Broncos, and you have the toughest schedule this season based off win and loss records of the opponents you're going to be playing from last season. So I kind of feel bad for them. Oakland Raiders don't look like they're not going to do much. And I'm not even too sure about their quarterback on it. Some key dates from the schedule, things I'm going to be checking out. The first game, the opening week, I'm looking at the Hail Mary debacle matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. I hope Jermichael Finley signs with the Seattle Seahawks, because if he does that, it'd be a good little rematch. I would like to see that happen and get to meet his old team. Speaking of a player facing his old team, the Panthers and the Ravens. Steve Smith goes back and play the Carolina Panthers. I think that's on September 25th. Mike, is that right? Mike's giving me the thumbs up. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Colts and the Patriots. I'm looking forward to that game as well. And the reason why for that game, because Andrew Luck, Tom Brady. I feel like Andrew Luck is going to be the new Tom Brady once Tom Brady leaves. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to say he's going to win that many championships. I'm just going to be that good of a quarterback, or that great of a quarterback. Another matchup I'm looking forward to, of course, the Patriots and the Broncos on November 2nd. Always like seeing Peyton Manning take on Tom Brady. It's going to be an interesting matchup there. And my favorite, I think it's going to be on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, Mike? Mike's giving me them thumbs up. Fat thumbs up. Fat thumb. He give me another type of finger, but we can't express what that finger is. But the Seahawks and the 49ers. They finally get to meet up Thanksgiving. That's going to be, Thanksgiving is going to be nice for football. I'm so excited because I'm tired of watching those bad teams play. You know, the same teams playing on Thanksgiving, because I know it's tradition, but then they play some sorry team. And it's just, what's the point of me watching this game? Let's get into the NFL draft real quick. And 3 things I want to talk about. The Falcons and the Bills' interest in either Clowney. For the Falcons, it's Clowney. For the Bills, it's Watkins. They have that willing to trade up. And you know the Falcons, to speak off them, they, would sacrifice next year's draft to get a player they want. They did it for Julio Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded up and get Jadeveon Clowney. Another one, a quarterback that's on the rise, is Tom Savage. He's a quarterback for Pittsburgh University. He can be picked in the early second round, or maybe even as late, if there's a run on quarterbacks, late first round. So that man is risen out of nowhere. Another guy, I can't say he's rising, but he's a polarizing figure like Clowney, and that's Johnny Football. There's been a report that the Cowboys have their eye on him. That would be crazy if he slips and fall, or the Cowboys try to trade up and they get Johnny Manziel to be the next guy in line after Tony Romo. That would be crazy. It's so Jerry Jones. It is so Jerry Jones. Let's pick a quarterback when we know, I guess you could say we have a quarterback in Tony Romo, but we need defensive help all over the place. Maybe we even need a wide receiver because Miles Austin's gone. But hey, let's just get Johnny Manziel. That's why the Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys. And by the way, I'm going to be doing an NFL draft special probably next week or the next 2 weeks, probably the day of the draft or days leading up to the draft. I'm going to probably talk about that later on, so stay tuned with that. But man, I'm excited about this NFL season. I'm just ready for some football already. I'm excited for the NFL draft too, next quarter. You know what it's time for? It's time for my favorite segment. It's Yo Ish. You send me your questions via Twitter. That's at This BS Show, and I answer them right here on this segment. Let's start off with JJ Thomas Radio. He said, why not enough love/hype for Jose Abreu like it was for Puig last season? I feel like if you put up the numbers, Jose Abreu is actually playing better than Puig was playing last season. But the reason why, Puig plays for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Big market. They're probably the number 1 team in LA. While Jose Abreu plays for the Chicago White Sox, which they're not projected to do anything. They're playing pretty good, but they're the second market team in Chicago. If he was playing for the Cubs, maybe you hear some noise, and the Cubs are winning, then you'll hear it. But it's the fact it's the White Sox, you're probably not going to hear it. But if Jose Abreu continues this throughout the whole... I remember, I picked him as the AL Rookie of the Year. But if he continues this and they get into the playoffs, makes noise, I think you're going to hear more and more about his name. Next up, Rich Simmons, SZA, said, how do you like the Blackhawks' chances now? I mean, I love their chances now. I was worried about that St. Louis Blues matchup. I picked the St. Louis Blues. I'm not afraid to admit it. The reason why, to me, these two matchups between the Blues and the Blackhawks, that to me was the Stanley Cup Finals right there. The winner of that could have easily went on and win the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, granted, they might have some tough matchups along the way, but the Blackhawks' chances now are looking great now that they beat the Blues. I was worried for them. They got their head on straight. They playing together, and the Stars are stepping up. They're playing big. Next up, high_on_glitter. Sound like somebody been at the booty house. He asked me the question of thoughts on the X Games holding a Call of Duty tournament. I mean, I don't say it's a bad idea. It's creative. It's new. It's something that you got to get with the times. Video games is becoming a big spectacle now. You see tournaments. You see people winning money for it. People's taking it more as a sport. I could see video games on ESPN. They having tournaments on ESPN, just like how they do the hot dog eating contest and the World Series of Poker. So, high on glitter. I know you loving that. While you at the booty house, you can sit there and watch the X Games. Watch you the Call of Duty tournament and just have a ball. I mean, it's interesting. It's creative. I like it. I'm down for it. My player of the game goes to T-Mac, a.k.a. Tracy McGrady. He made the minor league baseball team, the Skeeters. He made the roster as a pitcher prospect. Just showed that if you believe in something and you have dreams in life, you can still live out your dreams no matter how old you are. I think Tracy McGrady is 34 years old. He made the team. He said, I'm going to quit basketball and retire from that, and I'm going to pursue my dream in MLB and baseball and have a career in that, and he's getting his chance to do it. I mean, obviously his name is Tracy McGrady, T-Mac. I mean, he probably going to draw a lot of tickets there, but it's still good to see that he's pursuing his dreams, not giving up, and he made it to show that dreams can come true. So, T-Mac, you are this BS player of the game. My full of bull goes to, let's get back to that Donald Sterling thing, because I'm going to talk about Donald Sterling's wife. Now, I'm not trying to bash the man's wife, but she put out a statement, and I'm going to read the statement here. He said, I don't know if that was Donald Sterling's voice, but I haven't listened to the whole entire thing. I do believe that there are some parts that were cut out. I will have the experts handle that. The one thing I want everyone to know, I am not a racist, and I do not condone what I heard on that tape. And the reason why I'm calling full of bull, I'm not saying she's a racist, even though she's apparently in that report for that housing lawsuit with her husband, Donald Sterling. And on top of that, you married the man. You knew who he was. Don't act like you don't know who this guy was. Like, I'm appalled by that. That's who he is. You know who he was. Just like how the NBA knew who he was. You're that man's wife. You know who he is too. So, come on now. Don't feed me BS and call it sugar grits, man. I'm allergic to BS. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. You know what I'm saying? I might get a rash on my leg. Come on, man. Don't play me like that. I want y'all to go on my Tumblr page. That's thefryguyBS.tumblr.com. Go on there. It's a big fighting matchup coming up. Mayweather's fighting some dude. Who cares? Don't matter, because I feel like Mayweather's going to win. But besides Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, which is the fight that everybody wants to see, there's some other good boxers in there. And I'm going to talk about the 10 other boxers. And I ranked them out. I did an article on that. Check it out on my Tumblr page. Also, we got some funny videos about Robinson Cano, surprising Yankee fans. We got the Donald Sterling tape. If you haven't heard it, you can check it out there and hear it. We got the Madden trailer. You can check that as well. And we got, this week's pitch. Some funny picks, some informative picks. We got funny stuff for you there. So remember, go on the Tumblr page. That's thefryguyBS.tumblr.com. Remember, go on our Twitter page. That's @thisbsshow. Send me your questions. I can answer it on your ish. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate the feedback you give me. Shout out to my man Devin, my man Hove, who gave me that video for the Robinson Cano thing, because I was kind of done putting stuff up there, but he sent me that at last minute and I threw that on there. So shout out to you, Hove, Lawrence Holmes, the Game family, Jay Hood, Denea, my homie Mike, who's in the building. I mean, thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, life is a game, so play hard all 4 quarters. This has been another edition of This BS Podcast Show. I'm your host, The Fry Guy. 2 fingers in the air. Peace. See y'all next week. Come on, man. We got to hurry up and get up out of here, man. It's getting hot, man. I got to get something fixed.
Bye-bye. Tripping. I'm out of here anyway. Peace out.